the galaxy watched Earth for what many believed would be the last time. Far beyond the orbit of Pluto, space began to change. Stars dimmed, light bent. Then the darkness opened. A massive galactic invasion fleet emerged at the edge of the solar system. Thousands of ships appeared in perfect formation. They were not rushed. They were not chaotic. They moved with calm precision. These ships had ended wars before they even started. Planet killers drifted at the front of the formation, their weapons already charged. Behind them followed carriers, command ships, and star-burning platforms designed to erase entire systems. Each vessel was older than human civilization. Each one had survived countless battles. To the galaxy, this was not a war. It was an execution. The alien commanders studied Earth from their command halls. Giant displays showed the planet rotating slowly beneath a thin, fragile atmosphere. Earth was old. Earth was tired. Earth was divided. Humanity had fought bravely, but it had fought alone. Alien records scrolled across the screens. Human fleets destroyed. Outer colonies burned. Mars silent. Luna shattered into drifting debris. No reinforcements were coming. Earth had lost almost everything. One commander spoke calmly. Humans have no remaining fleets. Another added, their allies abandoned them. A third voice followed, cold and certain. They are finished. The data supported it. Earth had only one defense left, a single system buried so deep in human records that most believed it was only a myth, a classified project from humanity's darkest years. So old that even modern humans barely understood it, so dangerous that it had never been used, so costly that its activation was considered worse than defeat. The alien fleet did not fear it. They had seen legends fail before. As the fleet moved closer, a transmission was sent toward Earth. It was not a threat. It was not an insult. It was an offer. Deactivate all remaining weapons. Earth will be erased peacefully. Resistance will only increase casualties. The message echoed through every remaining human channel. On Earth, deep beneath ruined cities and broken continents, humanity's leaders listened in silence. Inside reinforced command bunkers, screens flickered. Power was unstable. Emergency lights cast long shadows across tired faces. The leaders argued. Some demanded surrender. We cannot win, one said. This is extinction. Others called for evacuation, though they knew there were not enough ships. Save who we can, another pleaded. Some said nothing at all. They closed their eyes and whispered prayers they had not spoken in years. No one spoke about the last defense, not at first, because everyone knew what it meant. Deep beneath Earth's crust, far below oceans and cities, ancient doors unlocked for the first time in centuries. Systems older than modern nations came online. Ancient reactors began to hum. The sound was not loud, but it was deep. It traveled through stone, through metal, through bone. Power began to drain from the planet. Cities went dark one by one. Entire continents lost electricity. Hospitals fell silent. Communication networks failed. People looked up at the sky as satellites burned and fell from orbit like dying stars. The oceans began to tremble. Tides shifted. Waves grew violent. Coastlines cracked. Earth itself seemed to breathe slowly, painfully. In the alien fleet, sensors started to scream. Energy readings spiked without warning. Impossible numbers appeared on the screens. This is incorrect, an analyst said. Another ran the scan again. The results were worse. The energy was not coming from orbit. It was coming from the planet. The alien commanders fell silent. No civilization was supposed to generate this level of power from a single world, not without tearing itself apart. What are they doing? One commander asked quietly. No one answered. The fleet adjusted formation. Weapons began to charge faster. Retreat options were briefly considered and dismissed. Earth had no ships left. Earth had no allies left. And yet, the planet continued to drain itself. Deep inside Earth's mantle, the ancient system reached critical alignment. Structures older than recorded history locked into place. Magnetic fields twisted. Gravity shifted slightly, just enough to be noticed. Animals screamed. Machines failed. Human operators watched warning signs flash red across every display. They knew the truth now. There would be no second chance. If this failed, Earth would die. If it succeeded, Earth might still die. The alien fleet moved closer, but not with the same confidence as before. Their sensors showed something deeply wrong. Earth was not powering weapons in space. Earth was turning itself into a weapon. For the first time in centuries of conquest, uncertainty spread through the invading armada. A commander whispered words never before spoken during an invasion: delay the advance. But the order came too late. Far below the surface of the planet, the final systems unlocked. The planet trembled. The galaxy held its breath. And Earth prepared to do the unthinkable. Earth was not preparing to survive. It was preparing to end the war. Long before the alien fleet arrived, humanity had already accepted a hard truth. They would never rule the galaxy. Humans were not the strongest. They were not the oldest. They were not the most united. Every time humanity reached the stars, they met something bigger, stronger, crueler. Human wars were loud and fast. Alien wars were slow and final. So humans changed their thinking. They stopped asking how to win forever. They asked one simple question: how do we make sure the enemy never comes back? The answer was born during humanity's darkest age, an age of loss, an age when Earth was nearly destroyed the first time. Back then, alien fleets tested Earth's borders. Human ships fought bravely but died quickly. Entire cities were erased from orbit. Oceans boiled. Skies burned. Human scientists understood something terrifying. No shield could protect Earth. No fleet could defend it forever. So they built something else. Not a ship. Not an army. Not a weapon that could travel. They built a system that could only exist in one place: Earth itself. The project had many names, but history erased most of them. What remained was a warning written in old human records. This system is not a defense. It is a final answer. The weapon was buried deep beneath the planet. Not hidden. Not protected. Chained. Locked behind laws that could never be broken easily. The system did not fire missiles. It did not shoot beams. It changed the rules of space around Earth. It used the planet's core, its gravity, its magnetic field, its rotation. Every part of Earth became part of the weapon. The cost was written clearly. Each activation would damage the planet. Extended use would kill it. That was why the system was never tested. Not once. As human technology advanced, the knowledge faded. New generations believed the weapon was a myth, a fear story meant to scare enemies and calm humans. Until now. Back in the present, Earth's leaders stood in silence as old systems came online. Screens filled with warnings written in dead languages. Engineers stared in disbelief as power levels rose beyond safe limits. "This isn't possible," one whispered. "It is," another replied quietly. "It was always possible. We just refused to accept the cost." Deep beneath Earth's crust, massive structures aligned for the first time in centuries. They moved slowly, carefully, as if the planet itself was resisting. Earth did not want this. Cities shook. Mountains cracked. Fault lines stretched like open wounds. Millions felt it. People dropped to their knees. Buildings collapsed. Animals fled. Yet the system continued. In space, the alien fleet watched in growing confusion. Energy readings continued to rise. "This level of output should tear the planet apart," an alien scientist said. Another replied, "Unless the planet is the system." The realization spread quickly. Earth was not firing a weapon from its surface. Earth was the weapon. Some alien commanders ordered immediate retreat. Others refused. "No single planet can threaten a fleet of this size," one said, but doubt had already entered their minds. Earth's magnetic field twisted. Gravity wells shifted. Space near the planet became unstable. Navigation systems began to drift. Small alien ships reported strange time delays. Signals arrived late or too early. Space around Earth felt wrong. On the planet, alarms screamed across command bunkers. Engineers begged leadership to shut the system down. "If we continue," one shouted, "we may never recover." A human leader answered calmly, "There will be nothing left to recover if we stop." The truth was clear now. Earth could not outfight the galaxy. It could not escape. It could not hide. But it could do one thing no empire expected. It could hurt itself to destroy the enemy. Deep underground, the final locks disengaged. The system entered full synchronization with Earth's core. The planet's rotation slowed by a fraction. Enough to change tides, enough to break continents. Human scientists watched data stream across screens, knowing they were witnessing something that could never be repeated. The weapon was reaching its point of no return. In orbit, alien commanders felt fear for the first time, not fear of destruction, fear of human thinking. These beings, one whispered, did not build a weapon to survive. They built one to make sure no one else would. The invasion fleet moved to fire. But space around Earth resisted them. Targeting systems failed. Weapons misaligned. Formation broke. Earth was bending reality around itself. On the surface, power grids collapsed entirely. The planet went dark. No lights, no signals, no voices, only the deep, endless hum from beneath the world. The system was ready. Earth had crossed the line it promised never to cross. Humanity had made its choice, and once the weapon fired, there would be no undoing it. The galaxy was about to learn the cost of pushing Earth too far. The moment the system reached full power, space around Earth stopped behaving like space. There was no bright flash, no massive explosion, no loud sound. Instead, everything became quiet, too quiet. In the alien fleet, sensors froze. Data streams stuttered. Timestamps stopped making sense. A scout ship at the front of the formation simply vanished. No heat, no debris, no warning. It was there, then it was not. What happened to Ship 7? An alien commander demanded. No answer came. Another ship disappeared, then another. Panic spread through the fleet. Weapons fired blindly, energy beams cutting through empty space. They hit nothing. Space itself seemed to absorb the attacks. Earth had not fired outward. Earth had changed the space around it. Gravity near the planet twisted sharply. Invisible forces pulled alien ships off course. Hulls groaned under pressure. They were never designed to endure. Massive warships, each capable of destroying a planet, were dragged out of formation like toys. Some collapsed inward, crushed by sudden gravity spikes. Others stretched apart, torn by forces pulling them in different directions at the same time. Alien crews screamed as control vanished. "This is impossible!" An officer shouted, "No weapon does this!" But it was happening. The space between atoms bent. Time delayed. Distance lost meaning. Entire squadrons disappeared without explosion, without sound. From far across the galaxy, sensors detected something impossible. A planet was rewriting the battlefield. On Earth, the cost arrived instantly. The planet screamed. Earthquakes tore through continents. Cities cracked open. Skyscrapers fell like sand towers. Oceans rose violently, swallowing coastlines. Waves slammed into land with unstoppable force. Inside command bunkers, people were thrown from their feet as gravity shifted unevenly. Warning lights flashed everywhere. Core stirs. Critical planetary damage. Escalating system staple 80. Failing engineers shouted over each other. "Shut it down. If we shut it down now, the fleet survives. Then Earth dies later anyway." Above them, the alien fleet was being erased. Thousands of ships were gone within minutes. Not destroyed. Removed. As if the universe itself had decided they no longer belonged. The surviving alien commanders finally understood the truth. This was not a battle. This was a sentence. Earth had chosen to execute the invasion fleet by sacrificing itself piece by piece. A retreat order was given, but space refused to let them leave. Jump drives failed. Navigation collapsed. Escape vectors led nowhere. The closer ships were pulled toward Earth's gravity field, caught in invisible currents they could not fight. Larger ships resisted longer, but resistance only made it worse. Their structures shattered under stress. No armor could block. Even the planet killers fell. One by one, they vanished. On Earth, the skies burned. Satellites fell like rain. Space debris struck cities at hypersonic speed. Fire spread across entire regions. Power grids were gone. Communications were broken. Emergency systems failed. Millions died in silence. Still, the system continued. Human leaders watched helplessly as casualty reports stopped updating, because there was no power left to count the dead. One leader whispered, "We won't survive this." Another answered, "We were never meant to." Deep underground, the ancient system reached overload. The planet's core destabilized slightly, enough to change everything. Earth's rotation slowed another fraction. Days would grow longer, seasons would change. The climate would never fully recover, and still the fleet kept dying. At last, silence returned to space. No alien ships remained near Earth. No signals. No movement. No threats. The Galactic Invasion Fleet, one of the strongest forces ever assembled, was gone. Earth had won. But victory did not feel like victory. The system finally shut itself down, not by command, by failure. Ancient structures cracked. Energy collapsed inward. The weapon died with a long, fading hum that echoed through the planet. Earth was left wounded. The skies were dark with ash. The oceans were unstable. Entire regions were unlivable. Billions were dead. And yet, Earth still existed. In distant star systems, alien sensors slowly came back online. What they saw terrified them. An entire fleet had vanished, not destroyed by another fleet, not erased by a superweapon station, but killed by a single planet, a planet that accepted its own suffering as part of the attack. An alien observer whispered words that would later spread across the galaxy. Earth did not defend itself. It paid for our destruction. Humanity sent no message, issued no warning, claimed no victory. Earth remained silent, broken, scarred, alive. The galaxy understood something new. Earth could never do this again, but it did not need to. Once was enough. The war was over. The cost was only beginning to be understood. The war ended without celebration. There were no cheers, no victory messages, no flags raised in triumph. Earth was alive. That alone was the victory. Silence spread across the planet. Cities that once glowed at night were dark. Entire regions were without power, without communication, without hope. Smoke covered the skies. Ash fell like snow. The oceans were restless. Tides no longer followed old patterns. Coastal cities were gone, swallowed by waves that never returned to normal. Earth had survived. But it was broken. Deep inside surviving command bunkers, human leaders gathered again. Their faces were older now, their voices quieter. They looked at reports that felt unreal. Billions dead, entire nations erased, ecosystems destroyed, the planet's balance permanently damaged. One scientist spoke first. The planet's core stabilized, barely. Another added, the system burned itself out. It cannot be restarted. No one asked if it could be repaired. They already knew the answer. Earth's last defense was dead. And so was the Earth that once existed. Across the planet, survivors slowly emerged from shelters. They looked up at unfamiliar skies. The stars were wrong. Earth's rotation had changed just enough to shift everything. Constellations moved. Nights lasted longer in some regions. Days burned hotter in others. Children asked their parents why the world felt strange. Most parents had no answers. In hospitals running on weak emergency power, doctors worked without rest. Supplies were low. Machines failed. Many could not be saved. The victory had come too fast. The cost had come faster. Humanity began to understand the truth. They had not won a future. They had bought time. Far away across the galaxy, the shock continued. Alien sensors confirmed what no one wanted to believe. The invasion fleet was gone. Not damaged. Not scattered. Gone. Entire empires froze their military movements. Borders locked. Fleets stopped mid-jump. Emergency councils gathered in secret. Historians searched ancient records. Military leaders argued in fear. How could one planet do this? The answer spread slowly. Earth had not fought to win forever. Earth had fought to make sure it never had to fight again. Back on Earth, the truth was written into law within days. The weapon would never be rebuilt. Not because it could not be, but because Earth would not survive another use. The planet had reached its limit. Scientists warned of long-term effects, unstable climate, permanent tectonic stress, rising radiation levels, slow but unstoppable environmental collapse. Earth would heal but only partially. Human leaders faced the hardest choice yet. They could broadcast their victory. They could threaten the galaxy. They could demand peace. They chose silence. Earth sent no message to the stars, no warning, no demand, no claim of power. Humanity focused inward. Rescue, rebuilding, survival. The galaxy noticed. Alien scouts watched from a distance. Earth did not expand, did not chase enemies, did not celebrate. It mourned. An alien observer recorded the moment. They destroyed our fleet, and then they grieved their own world. That terrified the galaxy more than the weapon ever could. Because it proved something simple. Humans did not see war as glory, they saw it as failure. And they were willing to destroy themselves rather than lose. On Earth, memorials rose among the ruins, not monuments of pride, but walls of names. So many names, so many voices lost forever. Children were taught what happened, not as legend, but as warning. This was our last defense, teachers said, and it cost us everything. The system that saved humanity was buried again, not repaired, not studied, sealed forever. Its location erased, its designs destroyed. Only one record remained. A single sentence carved into stone beneath Earth's surface. Never again. The galaxy learned to stay away. Trade routes shifted, borders moved. Maps marked Earth with a new symbol. Not a threat marker, a warning. Do not probake. Years passed. Earth stabilized slowly. Humanity survived barely. They did not rise as conquerors. They did not rule the stars. But they endured. And that was enough. The victory over the invasion fleet became a quiet truth whispered across the galaxy. A reminder, Earth could not fight again like that. But no one dared test it, because everyone understood the cost humans were willing to pay, and what they were willing to lose. The war was over. But the scars would never fade. The galaxy did not celebrate Earth's survival. It froze. Across thousands of star systems, alarms sounded not from attack, but from realization. Military networks replayed the same data again and again. A full galactic invasion fleet had vanished, not defeated in battle, not worn down over time, erased. And the cause was a single planet that no longer even had a fleet. Emergency councils gathered everywhere. Ancient empires that had not met in centuries called urgent meetings. Young species panicked. Old ones grew quiet. Maps were updated. Earth's system changed color. What was once marked as minor species zone was replaced with a warning few had ever seen. Exterm riskek, avoid direct conflict. No explanation followed. None was needed. Military analysts struggled to explain what happened. Some claimed Earth used a hidden superweapon. Others believed it was ancient alien technology. But the truth, when it spread, unsettled everyone. Earth used itself. Humanity had tied its survival to the destruction of its enemy. One alien general said quietly, "They did not threaten us with power. They threatened us with sacrifice." That frightened the galaxy more than fleets ever could. Several empires immediately pulled their forces back from human borders. Outposts were abandoned. Trade routes rerouted. Exploration ships given strict orders to keep distance. Earth had not demanded peace, but peace arrived anyway. Alien historians reopened forbidden archives. Old records mentioned humans long ago, not as conquerors, not as builders, but as survivors. Stories appeared of human worlds holding out long past expected defeat, of humans refusing surrender even when escape was impossible. Most of those records had been ignored, until now. One ancient species issued a rare public statement: humanity is not dangerous because it is strong. Humanity is dangerous because it does not fear loss. That statement spread across the galaxy within hours. On Earth, humanity remained unaware of most of this. They were too busy surviving. Cities were rebuilt slowly, often in different places. Some regions were abandoned forever. Others became shelters for millions of displaced people. Human leaders rejected calls to rebuild fleets. "We cannot afford another war," one said, not because they were weak, but because they knew the cost. Instead, humanity sent one message into space. Not a threat, not a warning, a simple broadcast, repeated once and never again. "We will not expand. We will not pursue revenge. Leave us in peace." The galaxy listened, because no one wanted to learn what Earth would do if pushed again. Alien scouts continued to observe from a distance. They expected rebuilding of weapons. They saw none. They expected military drills. They saw rescue missions. They expected preparations for conquest. They saw memorials. This confused them. A species that could erase a fleet should be ruling the stars. Humans did not. They mourned. Alien psychologists struggled to understand. Why would a species refuse power after proving it? One asked. An older scholar answered, because power nearly killed them. Over time, a new rule quietly formed across the galaxy. It was never written into law, but everyone followed it. Never corner humanity. Never force Earth to choose again. Human traders slowly returned to space. They came with damaged ships and limited technology, but no one laughed. No one threatened them. Human ships were allowed safe passage even through hostile regions, not out of kindness, out of fear. A young alien captain once asked his superior, "Why do we protect human ships?" The answer was simple: because they have nothing left to lose. Years passed. The story of Earth's last defense became legend. Children across the galaxy were taught about it, not as history, but as warning. A single lesson echoed everywhere: winning at any cost is terrifying when someone is willing to pay it. Earth never rebuilt the weapon, never hinted it could, but it did not need to. The memory of what happened was enough. Humanity became something new, not rulers, not gods, but a line no one dared cross. In the quiet of space, Earth healed slowly. Scars remained, so did resolve. The galaxy learned to respect the silence around one small damaged world, because silence had once swallowed an entire fleet, and no one wanted to hear it again. Time passed. Not quickly, not gently, but it passed. Earth did not rise again as the galaxy expected. There were no massive shipyards, no new fleets, no hidden weapons built in secret. Instead, there was repair, slow hands rebuilding broken cities, careful science stabilizing damaged land, quiet work to save what life remained. Humanity learned how fragile its home truly was. The planet would never fully heal. Some scars were permanent, entire regions were marked as dead zones. Oceans never returned to old levels. Weather patterns shifted forever. Humanity adapted because that was what it had always done. They survived. Children born after the war grew up hearing the story not as a tale of victory, but as a lesson. Teachers spoke carefully. "We won," they said. But winning nearly ended us. Earth's last defense became known by a new name among humans: the choice. Because that was what it had been. Not a weapon, not a miracle. A decision. And one humanity promised never to make again. Across the galaxy, Earth became something strange. Not an empire, not a threat, not an ally. A reminder. Alien travelers spoke of the quiet world, a place where no fleets gathered, where no power displays existed, yet where every map showed a wide, empty space around it. No one went near Earth unless invited. Not because they feared attack, but because they feared what it meant to push humans to desperation again. An ancient alien historian wrote, "Most civilizations fight to survive. Humanity fought knowing survival might be impossible." That single idea reshaped galactic thinking. Wars became shorter, ultimatums less absolute. Total extermination plans quietly disappeared. No empire wanted to create another Earth. Human diplomats slowly returned to galactic councils. They arrived without escorts, without weapons, without demands. They spoke little and were listened to closely, because everyone remembered what happened the last time humans were cornered. Earth never used its silence as a threat. It used it as a promise. "We will not be your enemy," humanity showed. "But do not force us to be." Years later, a small alien research vessel was granted rare permission to orbit Earth. The crew expected to see a world preparing for war. Instead, they saw memorials, entire continents dedicated to remembrance, names carved into stone and metal, oceans marked with floating lights for the lost. One alien scientist asked a human guide, "Why do you keep remembering the pain?" The human answered simply, "So we never forget the cost." Deep beneath Earth's surface, far below even the ancient bunkers, the remains of the last defense system rested in silence. Powerless, broken, sealed forever. Its location erased from every database. Only one physical marker remained, a simple plaque worn by time, written in old human language. "Here lies the weapon that saved us and almost destroyed us." No guards stood there, none were needed. The planet itself remembered. As decades turned into generations, Earth slowly reclaimed a place in the galaxy, not as a leader, as a warning. When disputes grew dangerous, someone always mentioned Earth, not as a threat, as a lesson. They had nothing left, leaders would say, and they still chose to stand. Humanity never asked for respect, but it earned it. In the quiet moments, when Earth's skies cleared and stars became visible again, humans looked upward. not with hunger, not with ambition, but with understanding. They knew now that survival was not about power, it was about restraint. The galaxy continued on. Empires rose, others fell, but Earth remained, scarred, silent, watching. And somewhere, far away, a young alien asked an elder, "Why does everyone avoid that small blue world?" The elder answered, "Because once it chose to lose everything rather than lose itself." That answer spread, and Earth was left in peace. The war was over. The weapon was gone, the cost was remembered, and humanity endured, not because it was the strongest, but because it was willing to pay the price no one else would.